Sums of radicals. We have already learned how to combine what we call like terms with a variable. We already know how to do this. So I have 5x plus y minus 4x plus 2y. And we're going to combine anything that's like and the ones that are like are, let's see, I have a bunch of beautiful colors here. That 5x is like that negative 4x, and when I combine those I get just 1x. And let's see, a beautiful shade of pink here. This positive y and that 2y are going to be combined, and that would give me plus 3y. And I have now combined like terms. That's what you learned before. Well, what we're going to do now is something super similar to that, where you're only combining the variables that are the same, but instead we're going to combine like radicals. Like radicals. So the radical has to be the same. You can only combine radicals that have the same index and radicand. So we're going to put this right here. You can only combine radicals that have the same index and radicand. Okay, so that's the only thing you can combine. Alright, so it's an and though, so both of those have to be true. Okay, and both of these are true. So it has to have the same index and radicand. So for example, I have 5 square root 2 plus 3 square root 3 minus 4 square root 2 plus 7 square root 10 plus 8 square root 3. Okay, so let's talk about what is same. So it's the same index. Okay, it would have to have the same index, and that's that number right here. Well, these are all square roots. Okay, so the index are the same. And radicand, well, that radicand is here. So I have a 2, I have a 3. Those aren't the same. I have a 2. Oh, the 2 and the 2, these are the same. The 10, I don't see anything. The 3 and the 3 would be the same. So I'm going to go through that same process, and I'm going to underline this one and this one because they can be combined. They have the same index and the same radicand. So I can combine them. I'm only just going to look at the front numbers, and just like with a variable, and this is going to stay behind it, just like we did up here. So that's going to give me, I'm going to write the 1 in there just for fun, 1 square root 2. Okay, we don't need the 1, but just for learning purposes, we'll go ahead and put it in there. Okay, and the other thing, the other one I see anyway, that we can combine are these. Now, those two have the same radicand, it's 3, and the same index, it's 2, right? We don't write it in. So that's going to give me plus 11, 8, 9, 10, 11, right, with my 3, square root 3. So I combine those, and this 7 square root 10, it doesn't have anything that it goes with, so it's just going to be 7 square root 10. And that is my answer. Those are combined. So here is an example. In orange. And I'm going to go ahead and call this, oops, just wrote on my table with my Sharpie. Okay. Good. So that's what we have to do to combine. Now, I'm going to show you one that can't be combined. Let's see. Square root 2 plus cube root 2. That's a cube. It's kind of hard to see. Square root 2, there's a 2 there. The radicand is the same, but the index numbers aren't. So because those index numbers aren't the same, I can't add them together. So those can't be combined. Okay, they can't be combined. So here's an example. They can't be combined, and then of course, you know, 3 square root 2 plus 2 square root 3. That can't be combined because even though the index is the same, the radicand isn't, just like we did in that example. All right, now, of course, they're not all this simple. So what you're going to have to do is, here's another example. This time I'm going to have some steps for you. I have this problem here. 2 square root 50 minus square root 245 plus 3 square root 125. Well, you could look at it and say, oh, well, those can't be combined because the radicand is not the same. Although the index is the same and the radicand isn't. Well, you know, that's true. Well, kind of. Because we could simplify these. So my first step here is going to be simplify. Simplify radicals. Okay, so there's my first step. I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. I'm going to simplify these radicals. Okay, well, this one I can say is 2 square root 25 times 2. How's that? And I know that that 25 is going to give me, I can bring out from that 25, let me get a color here, I can bring from this outside the radical, I'm going to get. Okay, I'm doing my first step. I'm going to simplify my radicals. I have 2 square root 25 times 2, and I know that that 25 is going to bring out a 5. What I have then is a really poorly written 5, because I had just made a mistake a few seconds ago. But that is a 5. 5 times 2 is 10, and I have 10 square root 2. Let's see if I can not make a mistake this next time. Minus square root. I know 5 goes in there, and then if I think about it for 2 seconds, 5 goes into 20. 4 times, I have 45 left. That would give me a 9. Okay, so 49 I know I can pull out, because the square root of 49 is 7, so I can pull out a 7. So what I'm going to have is minus 7 square root 5. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing here. So plus, I have a 3. Square root, it looks to me like 25 again. This time times 5. And I already know that that 25, I'm going to cross out that 49. That 25 is going to bring me out a 5. So now I have 5 times 3, and it's plus. There's my plus sign. Square root 5. Okay, that's where all the numbers come from. Do I expect you to do that every single time? No. Hopefully you can just go from here to here really quickly. So we'll work on that. So I have 10 square root 2 minus 7 square root 5 plus 5 times 3 is 15 square root 5. And now I have to look back and try to figure out if anything matches. And looks to me like that matches with that. Now they have the same radicand, which is the 5, and it's to the same index, which is 2, which we don't show, of course. My answer here is 10 square root 2 plus 8 square root 5. Okay, let's write in some more steps. So I simplified my radicals. Here they are. And my second step was combine like radicals. Okay, let's do an example with a cube root. Here, let me get this example color here. Let's do an example with a cube root. All right, 2 cube root 9 plus cube root 81 minus 2 cube root, oh no, it's a fraction, 1/3. Okay, so I have to simplify. Well, if I have a cube root, I need 3 of something before I can pull 1 out. This doesn't simplify because 9 is 3 times 3. That's not enough 3's to pull out a 3, so I'm just going to have 2 cube root 9 there. Nothing I can do with it. This 81, though, I know is 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. So what I can do is grab 3 of these guys, 1, 2, 3, put them all together, and I can bring out a 3. So now what I have is 2 cube root 9 plus 3 cube root 3. This guy's a little more difficult, so I'm gonna put him in a little difficult little box. Okay, so this one, what you can do is you can split this up. So I'm going to have 2 cube root 1 over cube root 3. I'm going to rationalize this 3. So what I need to multiply by to rationalize this, here let me show it to you in a beautiful shade of, oh let's go purple, is I need 2 more 3's because there needs to be 3. So I'm going to go with cube root 3 squared. Cube root 3 squared. That'll give me 3 3's on the bottom, and on the top is just kind of what I get. So on the bottom what I'm going to have is my 3, and on the top what I'm going to have is, well, the cube root of 1 is 1, and the cube root of 3 squared is cube root 9. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add that in. So 2/3 cube root 9. When I combine these, I'm going to look and see which ones are like. And if you look at this, my like ones are this and this. So I can add those together, but I'm going to have to do a little fancy footwork here with this too. I need to be, common denominator. You guys know how to do that. So this one, I'm going to change, I'm just going to cross them out a little bit, and I'm going to change that to 6/3. Do you agree? Common denominator. Cube root 9. All right, then I can just add those together. Actually, I think I lost the minus sign somewhere. Where did I lose it? Right here. Let's scratch this out because I made a mistake. That should be minus. So 6 minus 2, I'm going to go this direction, is going to give me 4 thirds, cube root 9, and then I have this left plus 3, cube root 3, and then that's my answer. Okay, and that was an example. I'm going to go ahead and put that in orange, a beautiful shade of orange. Okay, there you go. Okay, we're going to do some practice multiplying. Okay, so we're continuing on with sums of radicals. And the first thing that I want to do is we're going to practice multiplying. Remember, when you're multiplying, let's get some steps here. First thing is multiply numbers outside the radical sign, and then you're going to have to multiply the numbers under the radical sign. Okay, but don't multiply those numbers together because that's not the way it works. So here we go. Here's a really simple one. Square root 2 times square root 3 plus square root 6. So I'm going to distribute, just like always, distributing this square root 2. So I'm going to distribute it to the 3. That gives me square root 2 times square root 3 plus, I'm going to distribute that square root 2 over to the square root 6. So I'm going to have square root 2 times square root 6. I don't have any numbers on the outside, so I don't have to worry about that. That was my step 1. But step 2, multiply the numbers under the radical sign. Well, I can do that. 2 times 3 is 6, so square root 6 plus square root 2 times 6, or square root 12. Okay, then we're going to go back to what we were doing before, where you have to simplify the radicals to see if you can combine them. So the square root of 6, there's nothing I can do with it. It's 2 times 3, so I can't do anything with it. But that 12 is 4 times 3, right? And that square root 4, I'm going to be able to take out, and when I take it out, I'm going to get a 2, right? So what I'll have is the square root of 6 plus 2 square root 3, and that's going to be my answer. Okay, let's try again. This time we're going to do an example with numbers on the outside. So we'll have 3 square root 5 times the quantity 2 square root 5 minus 4 square root 8. Okay, I'm going to distribute again. I'm going to multiply the numbers on the outside together and the numbers on the inside together. Okay. Numbers on the outside together, numbers on the inside together. Let's try that again. I have minus here, and I have a positive here, so it's going to stay minus. So I have 3 times 4 square root 5 times 8. 5 times 8. Okay, that's going to give me 6 square root 25 minus 12 square root 40 have to simplify it. Well, the square root of 25, I know that that is going to be 5, so I can get rid of that. And now what I'll have is 5, there's my pink 5, times 6. And then I'm going to have minus. And that 40, that's going to be 4 times 10. So what I'm going to have is 12 square root 4 times 10. And what I'm going to get is that 4, and I can bring out a 2. So I'm going to have 2 times 12 square root 10, because that's what I have left. It's still under that radical sign. That gives me 30 minus 24 square root 10, and that's my answer. Okay. Now, here I had an example. Where is my orange pen? Here it is. Okay. All right. Now let's put it all together. We're going to multiply and combine like radicals. Okay, so the first thing we need is a problem. So here we go. Here is a problem for us to solve. Okay, so there's a problem for us to solve. So we're just putting everything together right now. So my step 1 is to distribute. So step 1, distribute. Just like we did up here in these notes. Same thing. I'm going to distribute, and I'm not going to write it all pretty for you. So negative 4 times 3, those are the numbers on the outside, square root 6 times 2. Now I have a negative times a negative. That's going to give me a positive, so make sure you look for that. I have 4 times 5, square root 6 times 3, plus this 5 square root 48. What's that? 16 times 3, something like that. Okay, so I'm just going to start breaking this stuff down. So I have negative 12 square root 12, right? Plus 20 square root 18 plus 5. I'm going to leave square root 16 times 3. I'm going to break these two down because I have negative 12 square root 4 times 3 plus 20 times square root 9 times 2 plus 5 square root 16 times 3. Okay, this is going to give me a 2 on the outside, so I'll have 2 times negative 12 square root 3, because that's what I have left. This 9 is going to give me a 3, so I'm going to have plus 3 times 20 square root 2, because that's what I have left. And this 16 is going to give me a 4, so what I have is plus 4 times 5 square root 3. Okay, now I just got to clean it up. So 2 times negative 12 is negative 24 square root 3, plus 3 times 20 is 60 square root 2, plus 20 square root 3. And then I have to go, I'm not quite done. Okay, so I distributed, I forgot my steps, I always forget my steps. 1, 2, I simplified my radicals. And then 3, I'm going to combine like radicals. Okay, so there's my steps. I'm at the point of combining like radicals. I see that this and this are like, so I can combine them. I have a negative 24, a positive 20. That's going to give me a negative 4 square root 3 plus 60 square root 2. I can't combine those. They don't have the same radicand. They do have the same index, but not the same radicand. That's what's underneath that radical sign. So that's as good as I can do. All right, and that would be my answer. Okay, we're almost finished. One last little quick piece. And that is division. So we did multiplication. I know we're talking sums of radicals, but yeah, you gotta, sums and multiplication, division, they all seem to go together. So this one I want to look at division, and I'm just going to show you something that's really super slick and easy. The one thing though that you need to do when you're doing division is try to split and reduce, and I'll show you what I mean there. Okay, try to split and reduce. So let's see. This is what I'm talking about. 3 square root 40 plus 2 square root 24 all over square root 8 minus square root, whoa, where'd it go? Minus square root 5. So what I'm talking about here is try to split and reduce, is try to split it like this. 3 square root 40 all over square root 8 plus 2 square root 24 all over square root 8 minus square root 5. When you do that, what you're allowed to do here, because they're both under the radical sign, is you can wipe that square root 8 out, and that 40, and that could go into a 5, because 8 goes into 45 times. 8 goes into 24 3 times. So it's pretty fast. You don't have to rationalize. This doesn't always work out to where you don't have to rationalize, but this one is. So 3 square root 5 plus 2 square root 3 minus square root 5, and then I'm just going to combine like terms, or like variables. So I have this and that I can combine together that are like. That would give me 2 square root 5, right? Yep, plus 2 square root 3. Here's a couple for you to do. Square root 6, square root 3 minus square root 2. Try that one out. And square root 10 plus square root 250 all over square root 2. Go ahead and try those out. Pause the video. These are a you do. See if you can do them. Pause the video and see if you can do them. Okay, did you try to do them? Or are you just waiting? Don't wait for me. That's not how you learn. I'm going to distribute. I'm going to have square root 6 times 3. They're both under the radical sign, so I can multiply them together. I have square root 6 times 2. 6 times 3 is 18, so square root 18 minus square root 12. And I know there's a perfect square in there, it's 9. And I know there's a perfect square in 12, it's 4. And I know when I have perfect squares that I can reduce or simplify, not reduce, but simplify. So square root of 9 is 3, so I'm going to end up with a 3 on the outside. What I have left on the inside is square root 2. This 4 is going to come right outside and give me a 2. So I'm going to have minus 2 times square root 3. And that's going to be my answer. There's nothing more I can do with it. All right. This one would be a split, just like we did up here in the division. So once you split it up, you'll see that these are really, really simple. If you think to split it and not to just go to rationalizing. So what I can do here is 2 goes into 10 5 times. That's just going to give me square root 5. And here I have 2 goes into 250, 125. So what I'll have then is plus square root 125. That I'm going to have to simplify. So I have square root 5 plus square, I know 25 goes into that, times 5. About 25, I'm going to be going to be able to pull out 5 on the outside, what I'll have is square root of 5 plus 5 that I got in pink there, square root of 5. And those are, if you look at them, they are like radicals. So I can go ahead and add them together. I have 1, there's a 1 there. We don't show it, but it's there. 1 plus 5, that's 6 square root of 5. And that's my answer. Good. All right, that's the end of the notes. We will talk more about this tomorrow.